So one of the questions that I get asked quite often is what sort of jobs you did as an international student when you came here. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what sort of jobs I did as an international student in Australia, and I will also talk about how I got those jobs and some interesting stories as well in this video. And make sure to stick around as I will also talk about some key tips that you can take away from this video as well. So let's talk about the first job ever I did as an international student here in Australia. So my first job was being a runner in hospitality. It was for a specific event close by Melbourne. So a couple of hours drive from Melbourne, there's an island known as Phillip Island. There was a Grand Prix event where I worked as a runner. Basically, the job was to deliver food from the kitchen to the dining areas, and you have to carry really heavy platters from one place to the other. And it was just a 3-day event, so it wasn't too bad after all. It was a first job and it was very exciting, obviously, to work for the first time in Australia. So I got this job through a referral from a friend. So a friend of mine who was already going to work at this event asked his manager as well if he needed more people. And that's where he asked me, if you want to work, you can come and join this event and work over here. And it paid really well as well. It was around $25 an hour, and I got around $500 for those 3 days. And when I got my first pay for that, it was really exciting time as well. You do feel some sense of achievement after getting your first pay in Australia as an international student. I'm pretty sure it is the case with most of the students. Now, the second job that I did was through a recruitment agency, which was also introduced to me by my friend. So this recruitment agency was specializing in hospitality events, and the job was at different sporting venues around Melbourne. I came in November 2006, so it was about summertime in Australia, and there were a lot of events that were happening around Melbourne. So most of the time, this recruitment agency was sending me to different events at MCG, Melbourne Cricket Ground, Marvel Stadium, back then it was known as Telstra Dome, Melbourne Cup, and few other events. Most of the time the job was to serve customers and customer service related, and sometimes it did involve some basic cooking as well. Again, the hourly rate was depending upon the day you work in. So if you work over the weekend, you usually get paid higher money, and if you were working on a weekday, you get the standard pay. And the fun part about working in those events was that I can watch some of the live sporting events while during the break or after finishing my shift as well. But it gets really stressful at times when there are a lot of customers coming in during the break in the match or so on, as thousands of people are coming to order food while they have a break during the match event. Then the third job was the one that I will never forget in my life, which was doing dishwashing. Yes, I did dishwashing when I came here in Australia, and I don't have any shame in telling that I did a dishwashing job as an international student in Australia. As an international student, we always talk about that life is not easy, and sometimes you have to take the jobs that you may not like, but you gotta do it anyways. So I did work as a dishwasher in few locations around Melbourne. Again, the same recruitment agency sent me to some of these places, but the most of the time I used to work at one specific location. So that business was IKEA furniture store. I'm pretty sure some of you might have heard about IKEA in your life. And I used to do dishwashing in their kitchen, and thousands of customers will come each day. So it was a very fast-paced job, and you gotta make sure that the dishes are clean before the next lot of customers walk in. I definitely did not enjoy that job that much. I did that job for at least 3 to 6 months to pay off my bills, but you do remember these tough times that you went through in your student life. So next job was in the factory. So I worked for a few shifts in a factory known as CHEP. CHEP is very famous for their pallets, and I must say that this was a very tiring job. Some of my friends managed to did that job for a while, but I must say that I gave up that job after 4 to 6 weeks because it was so tiring that you can't focus on your studies, or you can't do literally anything else after doing that sort of a job. The job was to clean the pallets that were sent to supermarkets like Woolworths, Coles, or Aldi. I did work some other couple of ad hoc jobs in warehouses as well, which was mostly like emptying the container or putting the pallets from one place to the other. But those jobs were very ad hoc, and I did maybe a couple of shifts here and there. So all these jobs were actually referred to me by my friends. So after 6 months of arriving in Australia and doing all these sort of ad hoc jobs and dishwashing jobs, I managed to score some stable customer service related job that was much easier and was well paid as well. So I managed to get a job in Woolworths supermarket as a night filler. Basically, the job was regarding filling the shelves in the supermarket during the night time while there are no customers around. And Woolworths, being one of the reputable employers in Australia, they obviously have good pay rates and systems in place, and it was, as I said, very organized and easier job to do compared to any previous jobs I did in Australia. Now, how I got this job? I applied for this job online on Woolworths job portal. So Woolworths have this online portal system where you can apply for the jobs directly, and I got the job through that. And that was the first job I got myself without any referral from friends or other people. So here's a little interesting story about this job as well. When I was applying for a job in Woolworths, I also applied for a job in Coles as well. So Coles and Woolworths are two major supermarkets here in Australia, and I got selected for the both jobs. So after going through the whole interview process, I actually got orientation for both the jobs at the same time. And then I had to select which one would I choose, Woolworths or Coles. I chose Woolworths because it was much closer to where I was living. Coles' job was a bit far away, so I decided not to choose that job. Now obviously you can't really work for the two competing supermarkets at the same time. Now I did work for Woolworths for 7 years, from night filling position to becoming a supervisor. So after completing my degree, I managed to get a job with H&R Tax Accountants. So H&R Tax Accountants basically provide taxation services, and I did work as a tax consultant for a few seasons with H&R Block. And as part of my job role was to dealing with clients, helping them with their tax returns. Obviously that was great to do that because I just completed my degree in accounting as well. So it was directly related to my studies. And how I got that job role was after completing a short course with H&R Block. So H&R Block has got a short course that you can do for 3 months or so, and that will help you to apply for a job with H&R Block after completing that course. And I came to know about this by subscribing to many newsletters, memberships, and online forums as well. But after working in accounting industry for a while, I thought accounting is not really right fit for me. So I decided to do a bit of career change. And that's where I started working in international education as in training position. So I started off training in accounting, which was the field of my study, but then I moved on to training in business and marketing. And I did work for different TAFEs, colleges, RTOs around Melbourne. And currently I am working with a couple of international colleges that are teaching international students in Melbourne. And obviously apart from this, I run Overseas Students Australia and a couple of other online businesses as well. And being a trainer in education space, my job role includes training international students and local students, giving them the right skills and knowledge to make sure that they are job ready when they finish their courses. And mostly I have been teaching in vocational education industry. So that was all the jobs that I did so far in Australia as an international student and after that as well. Now here are some quick tips that you can take away from this video. The first thing first, ask your friends. Now it may not be easy to get your first job by yourself. So if you have friends or people around you who you can ask, don't hesitate to do that. It's definitely worth asking your network whether they have got jobs available or they know someone if they have got jobs available. And if you don't have any friends here in Australia, might be worth for you to do a networking with other people and build your network for that. The next thing is don't hesitate to apply for multiple jobs. So as I told you earlier in Woolworths and Coles story, you can apply for multiple jobs at the same time, but make sure that you customize your resume and cover letter for each job that you're applying for. And if you're struggling financially, my tip is take whatever job is available. Sometimes you don't like the jobs you're doing, but you have to do some of these jobs because you have to pay your bills, and that's perfectly okay for a short term. So it is important, if you are finding yourself in a situation where it is difficult to pay your bills, then probably better idea to take whatever is available. The next tip is about your study and jobs. Don't put your study as a second priority. I gave up some jobs because they were too tiring and I couldn't focus on my studies afterwards. You obviously came here to Australia for a better future, with your skills and knowledge that you will get after your studies. Make sure that your study has a first priority and jobs the second priority. Obviously, after completing your degree, you will get a chance to work as much as you want. So take an advantage of that after completing your studies. Or do take advantage of some summer semesters where you can work additional hours as well. And last but not the least is never forget your tough times. I mentioned about my job as a dishwasher, and that was one of the most difficult time I had in my life. Obviously, was thinking I didn't come to Australia to do dishwashing. I came here to have a better future. And you have to remember that those times will pass as well. And those experiences will help you to remain humble in your life and be thankful of what you have got after those tough, difficult times. So that's it for this video. Now we also got a video for those students who don't have any work experience at all and they're coming as an international student in Australia. So if you would like to know more about that, I suggest you to watch this video. And if you have been studying in Australia for a while, I would love to hear from you. What sort of jobs have you done in your life or you are currently doing as well? Please leave your comments in the comment section below. And if you find any value in this video, please don't forget to share it with your friends as well, so they get to know about these tips and some real life experiences that other international students have in Australia. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.